United Nations Agenda 21, Sustainable Development. It is the inventory and control plan. Inventory and control of all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all construction, all means of production, all food, all energy, all information, and all human beings in the world. And this is a plan that was agreed to by 179 nations back in 1992. It's a United Nations plan. It's called the Agenda for the 21st Century.
Battle lines for a new world order based on power are being drawn right now. So yes, Europe must fight for its place in the world, in which many major powers are either ambivalent or openly hostile to Europe, a world of imperial ambitions and imperial wars, a world in which dependencies are ruthlessly weaponized. And it is for all these reasons that a new Europe must emerge.
Free speech isn't a free fall in Europe. There are two anti-free speech movements that have coalesced. One is in Europe, where it has laid waste to free speech. Germany, France, England, free speech has been eviscerated. And also places like Canada. The U.S. anti-free speech movement began in higher education, then metastasized throughout the government. But this has all reached our shores now. The Berlin World Forum followed the remarks of Vice President Vance on free speech, and the EU was red hot. They gathered in Berlin, and it was the most anti-free speech gathering I've ever been part of. There's only two of us from the free speech community. And they are committed. And, you know, Hillary Clinton was there, and she really fueled the anger. I mean, she, when Twitter was purchased by Elon Musk, she called on the EU to use the infamous Digital Services Act, which is one of the most anti-free speech pieces of legislation in decades. And she called upon the EU to use the DSA to force the censorship of American citizens, force people like Musk to censor. It's an extraordinary act by someone who was once a presidential candidate in the United States. But they are committed to it. And after the World Forum, they further globalized this effort, and they are threatening companies like X with ruinous fines unless they resume censoring American citizens.
Looking at Western Europe, I would say there are basically three plausible futures on offer. Number one is Islamic Sharia law, and if you're a woman, you get to wear a burqa. Number two is totalitarian AI a la China, where the computers track you in everything you do all the time. And that's kind of creepy, sort of the Eye of Sauron, to use the Lord of the Rings reference, watching you at all times. And then the third one is hyper-environmentalism, where you drive an e-scooter and you recycle. And even though I'm not a radical environmentalist, I think if those are the three choices, you can understand why the Green Movement's winning, because those are the three visions of the future we have.
Right.
And the challenge on the conservative or libertarian side is to offer something that's a picture of the future that's different from these two very dystopian and one somewhat stagnant one.
Do you understand that Palantir is trying to get contracts that Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon, and then Google have? So Palantir has gone from a few percent of the contracts, 5, 6, 7%? The reason you know about it is because the corporate media wants you to know about it because they want it blocked from contracts. Fine, block it from contracts. The issue is that Larry Ellison just took over TikTok, and he's a former IDF guy.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
The first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link.
Peter Thiel's like, I want to have a counter to watch the Antichrist. The Antichrist system's coming in. They go, oh, you're the Antichrist because you said we need to be worried about the Antichrist.
You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools. Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival? I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
The entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, and we've submitted. The time before Christ, there were many forerunners to Christ, and the time after Christ, there'll be many forerunners of the Antichrist. So in some sense, it's a type. So Nero was a type of the Antichrist, or maybe Napoleon was a type of the Antichrist. And it's sort of it's someone who aspires for world domination, to create, the creation of this sort of one world state. In some ways, Alexander the Great was sort of a pre-Christ prototype of the Antichrist. It's sort of very parallel to Christ. They both die at 33. Alexander conquers the world. Christ saves it. So sort of a compare and contrast. How does a sort of world takeover actually happen? And it's kind of not a deus ex machina, but like a daemonium ex machina. It's like the Antichrist just gives these hypnotic speeches where nobody can remember a word, and then sort of just swindles people's souls out of them, and they submit to this totalitarian state or something like this. And I think if we were to speculate on how to solve that plot hole, we have an answer in the world after 1945. That people are in 1900, early 20th century, people were not yet scared of apocalyptic weapons. They could not imagine, anything of the scale that we'd have by the second half of the 20th century. And so the Antichrist takes over by talking about Armageddon.
Does the Antichrist say we need to worry about the Antichrist? I'm not even defending Peter Thiel. I'm simply saying, why do you only know about Alex Karp and Palantir when the main moves are in Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon? Bill Gates appointed major stakeholder of global digital ID system through the UN with China, creating the standardized system. Here's the UN, go read it. United Nations Pact for the Future, Global Digital Compact, Declaration of Future Generations. This is the whole plan written by the banksters for total control. This is going in, and I'll tell you, Palantir ain't anywhere here.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and I want to do a quick update about a document that got passed by the United Nations this weekend called the Pact of the Future document. It's two parts, one on science and technology and one about the youth and future generations. It is quite egregious, and it was done by a procedure called the silence procedure, which makes it a pact. And if no one objected, it is automatically adopted and put into the record as being completely adopted. This is the World Health Organization's runaround, or end around. Since they were not able to get the World Health Organization treaty passed, they decided to take it to the General Assembly. And it is even more egregious than what the World Health Organization was wanting to get passed. Let me just read you something really quickly about what is inside of this pact that is now being accepted by 193 nations around the world and equally open-armed accepted by our current administration. Everyone, it says that this is the power structure, fully digital and maximized for the control of the masses. Everyone will be expected to have a biometric digital ID that marks them not just as citizens of an individual country, but as a global citizen. So anytime you hear global citizen or anytime you hear sustainability, think that this is an egregious thing that's happening at the level of the World Health Organization and the United Nations. Anyone that has a dissonant opinion will be labeled as misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation and memory hold. Perpetrators for unapproved information will be fact-checked and punished by the system, which will be operated and enforced by artificial intelligence. Punishments will include being locked out of one's bank account, being unable to make certain purchases, unable to get on an airplane, on a subway, drive on public roads. This is the future, according to the world's self-appointed overlords at the United Nations. These are unelected bureaucrats that are making decisions about our country, our sovereignty around the world. Nothing could be more important at this point in time than to get prepared, have water, food, digital access, flashlights, a way to communicate with family and friends. Now is really the time to get involved and get prepared, because this is what's coming.
Palantir goes and sells governments, cities, whatever. Oh, we'll help you track for crime and integrate your systems. They all want all the stuff integrated because that's what AI wants. The point is, it's the AI. And there's all these systems.
Vietnam has closed 86 million bank accounts. They've frozen them, seized the assets, but they've closed the accounts. And that's 43% of all the accounts. There's around 200 million in Vietnam. Really?
The United Kingdom just announced something that should send a chill down every Canadian spine. From now on, every worker will need a government-issued digital ID to get a job.
We've now got the government pushing the Brit card, and they're now saying they're going to make it mandatory. So, i.e., if you don't take the digital ID, you won't be able to access any government services or pensions or healthcare. So basically making you an unperson. Doesn't this sound like the way that the unvaccinated were treated during the pandemic?
Right, imagine what they'll do is they'll introduce this digital ID and they're like, it's going to be good migration, it's going to be helpful, convenient, it's going to be convenient and safe. Then there'll be some sort of crisis like a pandemic or a war or whatever. They go, right, unless you've got the digital ID card, you can't access these resources or attend these facilities or wherever it'll be. And then it would never go back to normal. Same as it never quite went back to normal after 9/11, never quite went back to normal after COVID, never quite went back to normal after 2008. They slowly escalate the tensions, legitimize the authority until you don't notice that you're not free anymore. You're not free. You're not able to be who you really are.
Know why you know about it. Use that education to be aware of it all.
Turnkey totalitarianism. They are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. None of them have been able to do it. They didn't have the technological capacity. Today, the mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates.
If you're planning a trip to Europe, you're going to have to hand over way more than your passport when you get there. As part of a new entry-exit system, visitors to most European countries will have to provide 4 fingerprints and a facial photo at a self-operated kiosk. The information will be stored for 3 years, with the photo being used for ID verification on later visits. Travelers who refuse to provide their biometric data will be denied entry.
Digital currency, where it has been piloted, and there is only one which is clearly now launched in a very small country, but it is piloted on a fairly large scale in China, is of use and of service to all citizens. So it is not something that is good for the elite, or is good for the young, or is good for some versus others. If it is well done and if it is well implemented, it would be of service to all citizens.
When I started this job, there were actually very little countries in Africa or Latin America that had one ubiquitous type of ID, and certainly that it was digital, and certainly that it was biometric. And we've really worked with all our partners to actually help that being, to grow this. And the interesting part of it is that, yes, it is very necessary for financial services, but not only. Sure. It's also good for school enrollment, it's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not. It's very good to get your subsidies, from the government.
New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, The Nation, Mother Jones, GLAAD.
Come on!
These are all green lit, fully green lit. Okay, the blacklisted sources are Breitbart, Daily Caller, Epoch Times, Fox News, New York Post, The Federalist. So you can't use those as sources on Wikipedia.
So let's just say Palantir is the devil. It's a junior demon. It's aspiring to the position of Satan. And I guess the devil has his own civil wars. They're like, no, you don't get that. I mean, just for the sake of argument.
One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness, bind them.
This is a little piece of art, a really nice.
All right, thanks for being here. It's that's enough to take your breath away when you think about it. I mean, when you really think about that video, let me come in here. Welcome, October 4th, 2025, and you brace yourself for tonight. I just, there's no easy way to say it. We're being psyoped, we're being tricked, planned. They're constantly telling us, look over here while they're doing something over there. And I'm hoping that I'm going to say this. I believe that Trump is not in on it. Now, the comments are going to, the fucking chat's going to go crazy because I see it all over the internet. I mean, I can go right now and read 1,000 comments of people thinking that Trump is all in it, and this is all psyop, and Trump is he's the master of it, and all that stuff. And I don't believe that. I believe that the White House, and we're going to get into this, and I jumped in here because this is on my mind, and I just need to get it off my chest so we can get started here on this October 4th, 2025, Saturday Night Live. Trump is so insulated, and there's so many things going on. He doesn't know that they're taking InfoWars down. He doesn't know that Palantir's plan really is to take us into digital, blackmail, lockdown. And I don't believe he knows any of this stuff. I think that he's being fed a line, and he's got so many different things. And remember, he's 79 years old. Remember when your grandpa was 79? I mean, my grandpa was pretty fucking stout at 79, but he was still like not as, like he was when he was 65. You know what I mean? When he was out there showing me how to work on a car or whatever, or a truck, or, diesel, or, dig a ditch, or whatever it was. So I believe that as much as bad as it looks, and I'm with you. I totally am with you on all this stuff. But I got video after video after video after video of the globalist just taking the wrench to us, right? And there's a whole bunch of great stuff happening, things going, different things. But the bottom line is that video right there, and when it's the global censorship, it's the global CBDC, it's the, you can't get on a plane unless you get your four fingers, fingerprints and a face scan, and then they hold it in their database so they know who you are, where you are. And then, Bill Gates talking about being able to track every movement of every person all over the United States or even the world, right? This is the kind of stuff that they're doing. And listen, the 2030 plan is less than 5 years away, and we're going to get into that here tonight. We're also going to get into a little bit. Now, I've told you that that I don't believe the narrative with the Charlie Kirk thing, and I told you that it looks really, really funky, fishy, weird, don't make sense, I've told you all this, and I've told you my plan was to stay in the middle until I could find an off ramp, and I haven't found an off ramp. And you don't know who shot him. You don't know which gun it was. You know it wasn't a 30-06. We've done that. We know it wasn't 30-06. We know that it wasn't um, this Robinson dude. We know that. I mean, it's pretty clear he did not have a gun, and we're going to get into that. The whole thing's fishy, and all over the internet. And if anybody's on the internet at all, you've seen it. You've seen all the videos of like the psyop, no blood, all that stuff. We're going to get into that. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it because I think that everybody see. I'm just going to show you the stuff that's new, or that I've been able to verify, and then we're gonna do that later. Though we're going to get to that a little bit later. So we're really, listen. The globalists are in such they're in a panic. And so I'm just going to say this right now, right here, live on TV, on this stream, on this fucking internet. I'm just going to say it. You better be paying attention to your surroundings, and you better be really preparing yourself for what's coming. I mean, listen, there's no way around it. And let me tell you, as soon as they take Alex Jones's platform down, where he can't communicate to, you know, you know, 500 million people or 300 million people or 50 million a day. I mean, billion over 2 weeks. When that goes down, it's all that's when they're going to take. When the attack's going to really happen, because when he's not on the screen to tell you what's coming, they're going to just fucking. I just see it. You could see all these cities all over the United States where all this stuff's going on, and and props to the ICE agents and the sheriffs and all that stuff, where they're just literally going in. If they get attacked, they're slamming people, they're locking, putting them in handcuffs, taking them to jail. They're not messing around anymore. They've gotten a green light to defend themselves and use force, and they're doing it all over the United States. Nick Sorter did get arrested, I think in I believe it was in Oregon, at a protest, and he was shocked that they did that. We're not going to cover that, but I just thought that was pretty interesting. What else do we got? Remember this People's Liberation Conference. We're going to get into that later, but you got all these jihads talking about they're going to take over the United States, and they're going to do it by force if they have to. I have some of that. And so there's so many different things going on at the same time that, like I said, you just need to be paying attention. My wife hasn't been able. I haven't let her go to a fucking Costco or Sam's Club or any of that stuff in forever. I do all that because it's too big of an area. Remember, some casualties that depending on if it's Taliban or ISIS or or so forth, they have different things that they go for. Some go for mass casualty, some fight to the death, some, all these different things. We've talked about it over and over and over. So I want to bore you with the same stuff over and over again. But remember last summer last winter when we were talking about it, when we were talking about the 1,000 trained uh, Taliban, ISIS, so forth, in the United States, heavily trained. They trained 10,000 of them, sent them to Syria, and they took over Syria. Like, I had a guy on. It's interesting. I had a a fellow, who's podcaster. He's since kind of shut it down for the most part. podcaster, he comes on and I'm showing him this information, and he's like, "Oh, that's all bullshit. None of that stuff's going to happen." And then I guess he went and did some research, and he called me a couple weeks later, and he was like, "I really should come on your show and apologize to everybody because I was wrong." Blah 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 blah. That's not necessary, but like the information I'm getting is coming from people that have the information. People like General Flynn that know what's going on in our country. I mean, I keep my ear to the I keep my ear on it so I don't miss nothing, or I attempt to not miss something. Anyway, all right. So, with all that said, I got a hell of a broadcast for you tonight. We're going to get started. I want to say that if you haven't went, I'm going to put this. Let me put this up. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Stand by. If you haven't went to the Alex Jones, the AJNapp.com, you should do that. So if you're an Alex, maybe you're not, maybe you've watched Alex Jones, or maybe you haven't. If you want to be able to get a hold of him out, be able to see his show or get get his news after Tuesday, you need this app, because this app it's already number one. So you got all the people that say that Alex is a blah 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 whatever, right? But for some reason, the app came out on Wednesday, and by Friday at noon, it was the number one app on Apple App Store for news. So you be the judge of whose news is the best and whose isn't. Anyway, let me play this real quick. If you don't mind, we're going to roll this. It's like it's an ad, but it tells you how to get to the app. I want to play this for everybody really quick.
Well, 48 hours ago, our sponsor, Bigly, for the AlexJonesStore.com launched Alex Jones app. Go to AlexJonesApp.com and go right to the Apple Store. It's number one in the world in news, surpassing X, and is racing into the top 100 of total apps in the world. Great job, everybody. This is a real shot across the bow to the censors. That is a big deal. I mean, we're ahead of Disney. We're ahead of Uber. We're ahead of everything. We're ahead of X. Number one in news in the world. Takes years to do that with an app. We've been number one before when they banned us, 2018. That took 5-6 years to get to that. Number one in 48 hours. Incredible job. Keep sharing the feed. You can't search it. They don't let you search the app, which every other app you can find. But you just go to AlexJonesApp.com, and that takes you right to the subpage of the Apple Store. It's totally free right there.
Hey, the Alex Jones app, AJN Live, is now dominating at the Apple Store. After launching the app just a couple days ago,
All right, I wanted to put that in there. So it's AJN app.com. AJN Alex Jones Network app.com. If you're interested in that, I wanted to make sure that you have it, because they're coming in on Tuesday. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but they're coming in on Tuesday and taking over InfoWars. So unless Trump does something, and I mean, Trump can't keep us safe at this point, so I don't know what to think about that. We're going to get into the censorship stuff, though, right now. It's very, very important that we just get the censorship. I'm going to just stay on the censorship thing for a minute. I think it's important. Some of this is not my exact wheelhouse, but I want to make sure that I cover it because, well, it's important news that you need to know. And make sure I have the right one. I want to make sure. Yeah, this is the one from last week, but I think it's important. Bill 771 is a bill that that the wonderful governor of California has put forth, saying that if you say something on the internet that they don't like, they passed this right at the same time that Charlie Kirk was killed, assassinated, murdered, and check it out. Oops, hold on a second. Let me see, what am I doing here? Let's pull this over.
The state of California, like 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, 8 days ago, something like that, has passed a law in the state legislature, both chambers of the state legislature. It awaits a signature from Gavin Newsom that would ban hate speech on the internet in California. Hate speech. Now, how do they define hate speech? I actually have the definition. I actually wrote it down because I was so shocked by it that this is happening. The state of California, if Gavin Newsom signs this law, and he has until October 13th to do it, people will be fined if the censors determine that speech constitutes, and we're quoting now, violence, intimidation, or coercion. What's intimidation or coercion? Right. Or coercion based on race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, immigration status, or other protected characteristics. Obviously, white Christian men are not covered under that. And so the society becomes ever more hierarchical with a Brahmin class and untouchables at the bottom, the opposite of the country all of us over 50 grew up in, that had an egalitarian spirit where some were rich, some were poor, some were smart, some were dumb, some had good jobs, others were unemployed, but all of us were considered equal under the law and equal in the eyes of God. And that concept is the basis of a stable society, any stable society, and it was the basis of stability in this country. And laws like this and the attitudes that give birth to them, to laws like this, have made it wildly unstable. Wobbly, it's so unstable. So as of October 13th, that could become law. Now, that's a censorship law. Now, they'll say, no, we're actually getting the platforms to censor. Well, right, you're getting someone else to do the job for you, but if you hire a hitman and he carries out the hit, you're the murderer. He participated in it, but you hired him. And that's exactly what's going on here. The state of California, under Gavin Newsom, is about to, we think, censor the opinions of Americans, not to protect anybody, but to shield themselves from criticism so they can continue to do what they want to do in secret.
Yeah, so we're going to get into this right now. Let me pull this over. Stand by. We're going to look at this. I hope you can all see this. It says California bill known as the Personal Rights Liability Social Media Platform Bill was passed by legislature in September 2025. I think it was September 25th or 26th. It says here that is awaiting Governor Gavin Newsom's signature. If signed, it would become operative on January 1st, 2027. So couple year and a half, right? The bill would allow Californians to sue major social media platforms when their algorithms knowingly promote content that aids, abets, or conspires in violations of existing state civil rights law. And then the provision, it says liability of algorithms. A social media platform should be held legally and financially responsible for if its algorithms relay content that materially contributes, to violations of California civil rights law. Now, I don't know how that's really broken down, how they're figuring that in there, how they're saying that, because the way it's written, it's almost like, oh, if they, ban us or do some shit like that, then we can sue them or something. But that's not what these bill writers do. They do it in a way to where it sounds like that. They get the signature, and then then they pull out the fine print. Civil penalties, 500,000, up to 500,000 for reckless violation. Penalties could double if the platform knew or should have known the victim was a minor. Let's see, what else does this wonderful bill say? It says, response to rising hate speech. This is the part that is probably, you can no longer say they're a libtard, right? Because that's going to be considered hate speech. Let's see, where's it at? Response to rising hate speech. Supporters point to data showing that that an increase in hate crimes and disinformation, particularly targeting marginalized groups, and argue the bill is necessary to address online hate that fuels real world harm. Now, so let's say, so then we could say that all the things that they say about the conservative right wing MAGA platform is hate speech because they call us Hitler all day long, right? Does that apply, or does it only apply to if I call him a libtard? I'm just curious how that's going to work out. Not a regulation of speech. Not a regulation of speech. This bill's state purpose is not to regulate speech, but to hold platforms accountable like other businesses when they use their systems to knowingly facilitate illegal conduct. And again, I don't know what that means. And then it gets into the debate stuff, but free speech concerns critics such as American ARAB, Anti-Discrimination Committee, and civil the Civil on America Islamic Relations argue that it could be weaponized to censor protected political speech, particularly regarding Palestine. They suggest that to avoid lawsuits, platforms may over police content chilling free expression. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to bring that in and just, cover that because this is why. So the way this is going to go, as we know, for the liberals in say like California, Gavin Newsom, he's constantly talking about how if you are a Trump supporter, you're Hitler, or whatever. You got swastikas on your forehead, whatever it is, right? And I just have a sneaky suspicion that this is gonna well, hopefully it backfires on them, but it looks like if he signs this bill, and it sounds like he will because it passed the Senate while everybody was looking at the Charlie Kirk assassination, they put a bunch of stuff through, a bunch of bills for Israel and all this stuff. They did it, like they do those bills. They give you 17,000 pages and you have 10 minutes to read it, and then they vote on it, kind of thing, right? They did it when everybody was distracted, and I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theory, but it sure is funny how this stuff happens when everybody's drawing their attention to something else. Remember, hey, look over here, and then they're doing something over there. This is pretty common if you ask me. Anyway, so that's that bill, and that bill is scary as hell for someone that just wants to speak the truth. Because my truth, I do research, I do all this, I investigate stuff, and I talk to people, sources, and all this stuff, and I get the information, and then I put it out. And a lot of times I have, it seems like it's less and less, but I get all these comments about how, basically we're Hitler or whatever, put the label. It's just always a different label, or I'm a bigot, or I'm whatever it is. And I just think that this is going to be something definitely to keep our eye on, at least. Let's hope that I'm wrong. Let's hope that I'm wrong. All right. So, so getting back, because we're on this speech thing, and the hate speech and the censorship and all that stuff, and Keir Starmer in the UK, and everything that happens over there, they force feed it to us later, has literally came out and said that we're gonna in a short time, we're going to be able to have access to your phone without touching your phone with some kind of devices. We're gonna play the clip right now. That because they don't have any censor, they don't have any free speech. Everything's censored. Everything is censored over there in the UK. But anyway, let's bring this in. Let's look at it. You're gonna love this, and it's just the kind of shit that's going on is just crazy, if you ask me. Anyway, I'll play this clip.
I confirm, starting next month, there will be a significant change in how authorities can access your phone. From now on, authorities will be able to review your device at any time without needing prior notice or your permission. This means that your messages, photos, apps, and even private conversations could be checked instantly. To make this possible, AI-powered scanners will be placed in major cities like London, Manchester, and Birmingham. These devices will ensure consistent checks are carried out on mobile phones across the country. It will affect everyone, students, workers, families, and businesses. The goal is to provide a safer environment for all, but it also represents a shift in how privacy is managed. Once access is granted, it won't stop at your phone. Your personal data may be managed differently, and there could be implications for how your information is handled across platforms. This isn't just about mobile phones. It's about redefining privacy, trust, and how our most sensitive information is processed. We're now at a point where personal space is being viewed in a new light.
I got to ask the question. I just really got to ask the question. What the fuck is he talking about? Privacy, right? Like taking your privacy is what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the chat if I'm reading what Mr. Starmer's saying, if I'm reading it wrong. But what I heard him say is that they'll be able to have access to your phones and everything, all your pictures and all that stuff. So, Lord forbid if you have a picture of your fucking wife or your kids or, they just have full access to everything. And I get that it's the UK and things are different over there. But, listen, they're working on us right now. I just played the clip. It was 18 minutes long when we started the show. And if you haven't seen it, make sure you go back and watch that 18-minute clip from John Bound Report about the censorship, the CBDC, and all that stuff, all of it. And it's this stuff right here. They're working on implementing it here any way they can. And so they got to get this implemented. So, by the way, if we don't win the House and the Senate in the 26 election, we're all screwed, because it's going to go, instead of it going from, over 4 years, they destroy the country, they're going to hyper speed it. And then what they're going to do is they're going to just take and start putting people in jail again. They're going to go for all the big people, everybody that is talking about how they were, criminals, treason, and all that stuff. They're going to come get them first. Anybody with the voice, they're going to come lock them up. And just know that. You see what they did with January 6th and all those other people, the Bannons and the, all that stuff, right? So you're next. That's just the way it goes. And so we're going to get into that now. We are going to get into that right now. Let's see here. Let me get in there. We are going to do this right now. I'm online, son. Okay, I'm online. Oh, don't look in the camera. Stay back. Stay back, because I don't want you online. All right. I want to show you this clip real quick, and then I'll be right back.
Political violence. Assassins have tried to murder President Trump twice and tried to kill Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh. In Minnesota, legislators and even children attending Mass were gunned down in cold blood in 2 separate incidents. And an assassin targeted and murdered our friend Charlie Kirk. A sniper shot 3 people at a Texas ICE facility, and now more than 200 violent rioters were at a Chicago ICE facility chanting, "Arrest ICE, shoot ICE." At least one had a gun. We've seen this before. We saw it in Portland and with the LA riots. These are not peaceful protests. These are coordinated attacks by radical extremists, and they end now. Anyone who threatens or assaults our federal officers will be arrested and charged federally, not in some liberal state court. Same goes for anyone who's funding and aiding these extremists. You will be dismantled brick by brick. We are taking our country back. Make America safe again.
So I pulled that because I want you to see. Now, I've been told from my source that she's just a pretty face, media hit. She's not running the DOJ at all. She's not running it, but she's pretty face that's, out there talking about it. And, on camera she is, but, Blanche is the one that's running it, and he's putting a stop to all kinds of stuff all over the DOJ right now. Like literally freezing investigations and all that stuff right now. So I need to say that Todd Blanche needs to go. Probably get my ass in trouble for that. But listen, we all need to be the voices right now. We all need to get out there and say, we need to pound the drum because Trump needs to get the message. And it was what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Trump doesn't know this stuff. And the only way that he learns about this stuff is through social media. When he's like, looking at something, or he runs across something, or one of his people, like one of his kids, see it or something, and then they talk to him because he's so insulated. He doesn't know the day-to-day stuff that's going on in our country because they keep him so insulated. I need you to hear that. I don't think Trump is the reason why stuff's not getting done. Matter of fact, he came out like a week ago or so, and he wrote a letter basically to Pam Bondi saying that if something didn't happen, if the FBI and DOJ don't get their shit together, he's going to fire him. And then he had to retract it, and he wrote another one that was a little bit softer, but it was still the same thing because shit needs to start happening, and it's not happening. It's because Todd Blanche is blocking everything, all the way from the investigations, like on Charlie Kirk. Oh, we're just gonna, that's the shooter. We're gonna just close the case because they literally said, excuse me, they literally said that they're gonna close the case on the Charlie Kirk assassination. And then I guess Trump got word of it, and that's when that letter came out, and that's when shit started going. And I don't know what they're doing on the inside, but I was told that the FBI has put a block to it, and they're just going with the narrative, which is a bullshit. No one believes the narrative. So that's why all over the internet, everybody's talking about how it's not, that there's no possible way that Charlie Kirk was killed with 30-06 at 146 yards. It's impossible. It would have blew his head off his shoulders. If it would have went in right there, it would have came out. The whole back of his neck would have been gone. There's no way. It's impossible. Too many gun enthusiasts have done all the, the what do you call it? Shooting stuff and doing the trials on what would happen with 30-06 at 150 yards or whatever, right? And everybody says the same thing, that it's not possible for a 30-06 to have shot Charlie Kirk in the neck. So, that's the thing. So anyway, where are we? Okay, let's get into this. Let's see here. Okay, I want to move in here. All right, got it. I have to look at what I'm doing on the screen because I don't have it in front of me because my main monitor that's in front of me went down and I didn't have time to move it. I don't know if you noticed I was a little bit late tonight because I lost internet and then the system wasn't working. I had to reboot the whole system, and it takes like 5 minutes to reboot. So that's why I was 10 minutes late. Anyway, little side note here. Where we at here? Okay, let's get into this. All right.
So here's the thing. We got less than 5 years to stop them, or we'll never have another chance. Agenda 2030 isn't some conspiracy theory. It's written down, and it's written in their words. They come right out and they tell us exactly what they're going to do. It's a one world government, one world cashless currency, one world central bank, one world military, social credit scores that the government can use to turn off your bank account. Vietnam just deleted 86 million bank accounts of people who refused to get their digital ID. They just deleted them. Wonder where that money went. If you're not paying attention, you probably don't know that England is putting people in prison for social media posts like memes and fucking comments. This is the trajectory that we're headed. Dude just got put in federal prison in England for saying that he didn't want his tax dollars prioritizing illegal immigrants instead of being used for the betterment of his own countrymen. Listen, if you don't start standing up and saying something like I am, this will be the end of national sovereignty. It will be the end of privately owned property. They're literally telling people in other countries that if you don't accept digital IDs, you're going to be excluded from society. That's what they're telling them. That means they won't allow you to board a train, to get on a plane, to go to work. They won't allow you to do the things that you would normally do if you don't accept their digital ID. I'm telling you that they won't allow you to pay your fucking mortgage without providing them a digital ID number. They'll take away your home for non-compliance. They'll disallow or remove your children from school. This isn't a joke. This is what's happening right now. We have less than 5 years to do something about it. If you don't recognize how serious this is, you're not paying attention. This is what they're doing. They won't allow you to register your cars. They'll turn you away from medical care. And they'll do all this while they're telling you that you're not being forced to do anything. It's your choice, right? Like it was your choice 5 years ago with the jab. Remember that? This is how they institute the new normal. This is how they end the family unit. This is how they force mandatory schmaccinations. This is how they introduce universal basic income. This is how they introduce microchipping, a global credit system. This is what they want. This is what they're building right now. And they're coming right out and they're telling you thousands of 5G towers, the end of private transportation, the end of private farms, businesses run by the government, travel restrictions, restricted land use. You think this is far-fetched? Take a look around and wake the fuck up. They already tested it in 2020 with the lockdowns, restrictions, fear campaigns, government-run media. And most people complied without a second thought. That was the dress rehearsal. That was the warm-up round. 2030 is their final act. But here's the thing. It was all supposed to go down in 2015, but they missed their deadline. So they pushed it back to 2020. Then they missed that too. And what does that tell you? See, it tells me that we're much more fierce of an opponent than they ever realized. They didn't account for level-headed, logical thinking, like-minded brothers like us to dig our heels in and say, fuck you. But it's not good enough. And their efforts will only get more aggressive, more pronounced, and more relentlessly egregious towards dissenters. And here's the truth. If we don't fight back now, if we don't raise our voices, if we don't refuse to comply, if we don't build strength and unity in our own communities, then when the curtain drops, it's over. We won't get another chance. This is bigger than politics. This is about freedom. This is about sovereignty. This is about whether your kid and your grandkids get to live free or as digital slaves in a system that is designed to own them. You want to stop it? It starts with courage. It starts with men and women who refuse to kneel at the feet of our supposed overlords. It starts with you. Stay awake, stay strong, stay sharp, and don't ever back down. Join the rest of us who see the writing on the wall and who want to maintain our freedom, our liberty, and our sovereignty. It's time that we all link arms and stand shoulder to shoulder. Because if we don't, we'll spend the rest of our lives looking back with regret. And regret is a diabolical bitch. The link is up top in my bio. Join us. I'll see you in there, brother.
Yeah. So that's serious, really, when you think about it, because you know the 2030 agenda, 2021 agenda. Let's see, it was 2021 agenda. They pushed it, and then they pushed it, and now they're talking about 2030, and that's that Bill Gates thing, where they're talking about controlling everything through AI, where they can see everything you do, everywhere you go, what you eat, all that stuff. They're gonna clamp down on CBDCs and not let if you have too much red meat or you say the wrong thing or whatever it is, they just cripple you and not let you buy stuff or do things or whatever. And it's a government state run globalist controlled world that we'll live in. If we don't do something about it, if we don't make our voices heard, we will be that. We'll be just like the UK, just like China. China's doing it now. So, anyway. Oh yeah. Let me see here. Should have pulled this over earlier, but I wasn't thinking about it.
Right now, Larry Ellison is on a media rampage. He's buying TikTok. He got Paramount. He got CBS. He put Barry Weiss in charge of one of them. I'm not going to look it all up. The next phase is censorship. The next phase is all-out censorship blitz. That is what is coming. Okay? Think about it. Charlie Kirk was the free speech guy, right? Charlie Kirk presented a lot of issues for the agenda right now by the powers that be. He basically single-handedly stopped further escalation of war with Iran, we found out, by literally barging into the Oval Office, having like kind of an intervention with Trump and speaking his mind in no unclear terms. Charlie Kirk is basically the reason why Vance and Trump made it into the White House. And he went in there and spoke his damn mind about war with Iran and probably got it shut down. So he stands in the way of war with Iran. He stands in the way of censorship, and he probably was going to be president. I mean, but we don't know why he was killed, obviously. We have no idea why he was killed. Probably just a lone nut. Probably no specific reason. But now that the free speech guy is out of the way, you know what's coming? Censorship on TikTok. Banning of accounts. Probably on YouTube as well. They're going to go after X. They're going to ramp up with the ADL. They're going to do everything they've got. Probably more that we can't even imagine. So prepare yourself. We are not in the easy part yet. We are not already decoupled. This is just getting started, and it's going to get way worse before it gets better. And I mean, call me a crazy conspiracy theorist, call me a blood libeling anti-Semite, whatever you want to call me, a woke Reichster. But let's just say that we have reason to believe that Israel has done a few false flags in the past. Dragged us into a few wars, done a couple terrorisms, maybe even on U.S. soil. And they're very keen on censoring your speech, telling you what you can and can't say. And you damn well better believe they're not going to go down without a fight. They're not going to let this decoupling happen under any circumstances. And so we are going to have the biggest censorship wave and push that you've ever seen. And we're probably also going to see a false flag or two. And we might see things even crazier than that. So just buckle up. Be wise. Be thoughtful. Be very careful. Engage with the internet in meaningful ways while you can, and don't give up. Don't give in to despair.
Yeah, and so remember, I said this for those of you that's been here for a while. I talked about the 2016 election and how Trump wasn't supposed to win, Hillary's supposed to win. Everything that happened in 2020 was supposed to happen in 2017, 2018. That's when it was supposed to be implemented. The lockdowns, all the stuff, COVID, all of it, everything was supposed to happen then. And when Trump won, it shocked the system. And so what they do? They turned in and they went after Trump. All the Russia thing and all the things that they did to him, the multiple impeachments and Russian agent, all that stuff. From Hillary, right? Remember, it came from Hillary. That's we've pretty much verified that, right? And so Trump's in office again, and although he is, we're calling it winning, right? Because he is in office, he has the House and the Senate. Notice nothing big is getting done because Trump has some people in there that said the right things to him, but are not doing the right things. And I hope and I pray with my prayers at night, when I'm praying for all these people out here that are doing all this great work, when I pray for their fucking life, because at any minute, an Alex Jones or Donald Trump or JD Vance or any of those people could just get taken out. We know this. They've shown us what they did, what they can do. Look what they did with Charlie Kirk, and they got you on a rat race. They got you on the rat wheel right now. Everybody's trying to figure out what happened, how that happened, and who did it, and all this stuff. Keeping everybody all just cranked into the wheel constantly while they're doing stuff behind your back. Look at the 771 bill that just passed in California. It's just what they do. And that, call it a false flag or not, I mean, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk and that whole thing. We're going to get into a little bit shortly. But listen, what happened in 16 shocked them. Then 20, they put Joe Biden in there. And you see what he did. He opened the border, 25, 30 million illegals, bunch of terrorists are here. I mean, all the stuff. And you know what they're waiting for, right? They're waiting for the sign. As soon as they get the sign, they're going to start attacking us. And we're all infighting. You know, the internet's an interesting animal. Everybody is infighting with each other instead of going, okay, so you have that. I don't believe that bullshit. You're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're a conspiracy. You're a fucking idiot. No, you're an idiot. Instead of them just going, okay, that's your opinion. Okay, cool. Run with your opinion. I'm going to stay over here in my opinion camp, and I'm going to do this way. I'm going to, this is who it is. This is all, all the stuff that's going all around the internet. Twitter is just, or X is just going crazy with all this infighting. And we should be coming together right now because the enemy has got us surrounded from the inside. How do you take out your enemy? The easiest way to take out an enemy is from the inside out, because you got your guns pointing out and they're in your camp pointing guns at you, right? You see it with the White House. You got all Susie Wiles and Blanche and all these people that are in the White House. They're supposed to be Trump's loyal people, and they're doing shit behind his back, right? It's true. It's obvious. Todd Blanche has blocked numerous things about our government getting rid of the globalists and the deep state and all this stuff. He's a deep stater, and he told Trump the right thing at the right time, and I hope that Trump is on to it. There's enough of us in the White House, call it MAGA, conservative, whatever the hell you want to call it, America first, whatever you want to call it. There's enough of us in there, but are we insulated enough to where, or is Trump so insulated that we can't get to him? Because I know that some people are talking to Trump, but is Flynn close enough to him to be able to tell him, hey, this is going on? Or is he not that close? Or, what I don't know. I've never been in the White House. I've never been around a president of the United States. I've never been in one of those meetings, where they go in the skiff and they talk about all this stuff. I don't know. But what I do know is things are starting to fall apart. Look what they're doing to Alex Jones right now. He fought for years and years and years. 10 court dates, blocked it. And then the judge the other day just said, hey, okay, I'm done. And I don't know if they finally got to the judge or what. I don't know the details around that, but it sure does look funny. I don't know. I can't say. I wasn't there. I'm not a fly on the window or on the wall. But this is what I'm saying. They're going to implement the rest of the plan, the Podesta plan. Matter of fact, let me roll this. I know you've all probably seen this, but I'm going to play it again for you because I think right now is a good time to do this. I think it's going to be the best time right now to roll this one, because this tells you everything you need to know about their fucking plan to do all the stuff that they're doing.
Enter the so-called Podesta plan, a plan that isn't a single, neatly titled document you can Google in a heartbeat. It's the insidious undercurrent of strategies hatched by John Podesta, the longtime Clinton operative and Obama whisperer, to weaponize division, radicalize the masses, and claw back power through engineered unrest. And at its rotten heart, the Podesta plan emerges from the WikiLeaks trove of over 50,000 emails hacked from Podesta's Gmail in 2016.
This is a legitimate email. John needs to change his password immediately. So the IT team said, yes, John, reset your password at that bit.ly link. Well, they actually say reset it at myaccount.google.com, which is the right link, but he just went back to the original email and used the bit.ly link, and then he got hacked.
These weren't just chit-chat about pizza parties. They revealed a calculated machine, Podesta, as Hillary's campaign chair and founder of the left-wing think tank Center for American Progress, plotting to plant the seeds of the revolution in America. One bombshell email from 2012 penned by activist Sandy Newman to Podesta floated the idea of hijacking religious voters for a progressive uprising.
What Kirk said was dangerous. What Kirk said was racist, rooted in white supremacy, nasty, and hate-filled.
Fast forward through the leaks and you see the blueprint solidify, coordinate with media allies to amplify outrage, fund agitators through shadowy foundations, and stoke racial and cultural fault lines to delegitimize elections. It's not about winning votes. It's about winning the narrative war, turning dissent into dynamite.
Reaction to the Trump tape?
Well, my reaction is it's disgusting. And I think people saw in real life what we've been saying for a long time. What Hillary said as far back as June is that he's unfit to be president of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president-elect of the United States, Donald John Trump.
Post-2016, as Trump stormed the gates, Podesta and his ilk didn't slink away, they doubled down. Remember James Carville, the raging Cajun himself, teaming up with Podesta and leaked chats right after the election? They schemed to paint Trump as an existential threat to minorities and immigrants, priming blue cities for secession and street-level sabotage.
Trump is a criminal. Criminals like to be around other criminals.
And a mob boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Podesta's fingerprints are everywhere, from emails coordinating with CNN's Donna Brazile to rigged town halls to whispers of pressuring donors like Saudi Arabia and Qatar over ISIS funding while ignoring Clinton Foundation ties.
But most scandalous is that one of the biggest donors to the supposedly progressive team is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, currently massacring dissidents in its own country, as well as thousands of Yemeni civilians. The Saudi regime funds the Clintons with at least tens of millions of dollars. And in 2015, the Saudi government also started paying $140,000 per month to the Podesta Group.
Now, zoom to today, and the Podesta plan isn't theory, it's fully operational. With Trump back in the saddle and the deep state reeling, sources are buzzing about a Podesta-led Democrat plan for 1,500 protests across all 50 states, scripted riots in L.A., and false flags to frame Trump as a dictator, all to ignite a civil war scenario and seize power. Podesta is not just advising on climate scams like the Inflation Reduction Act's $370 billion green slush fund.
As Karine noted, we're marking the one-year anniversary of a truly transformative piece of legislation, the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the largest investment in clean energy and climate action ever in the United States, in the history of the world. But first, I want to acknowledge that today's event is coming during a time of heartbreak as the toll of extreme weather fueled by climate change is being felt across the country and the world.
Now we're just having to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and like pop it up. It truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing like gold bars off the hatch.
He's the architect of the unrest that keeps the masses distracted while the elite consolidate. This is the Podesta plan, an orchestrated uprising, riding out into this very day. InfoWars.com.
Yeah, so that's what's going on right now. exactly what's going on. That whole thing is going on right now. The riots, the trying to stop ICE from picking up illegals, all that stuff that's going on right now is the plan. That was the plan. It's been the plan from way back, and now they've implemented it now that Trump's in office, and they're doing everything they can to get rid of the 25, 30 million plus illegals that are here in this country. And you see it every day on the internet. People attempting to stop them from doing their job, and they've been literally cracking heads because they've got the green light to do that now. Got Antifa out there. They've just categorized Antifa as a terrorist group. We'll see how that goes, right? But that's going on right now. It's not like coming; it's already here. It's the thing that's happening right now. So now the other side of the coin is this Muslim terrorist groups that are telling us that they're going to take over our country, and they're going to do it by force. Have you seen the clip? Have you seen them? Let's go ahead and pull this one in, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Check this out.
Achieved the victory. We haven't done anywhere near enough. And the people here, I promise you, we do feel ashamed. We do feel like we're not doing enough. We do feel like change needs to come, because change must come. And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the oppressed peoples across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and everything they can on the line to bring these empires down, because they must come down.
Yeah, so you see, he goes on to say that got cut a little early, that they'll do it by force. Now, I don't know if you've seen that part of that clip, but this is the kind of stuff that's going on. This is what's going on in our country right now. Let's hold on a second. Let me pull this one in. You gotta pay attention to this stuff. You think it's only happening in these counties or these cities that have these Muslims in it, but you gotta just kind of got to pay attention to what is going on. You know what I mean? Play this clip.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of things begging for your attention, but if this matter hasn't gotten your attention yet, you might want to put it on your radar.
On American soil, terrorists took the stage and trashed the country hosting them.
The thing to do is to destroy the idea of America in Americans' heads.
It's called the People's Conference for Palestine, which thousands of people attended. And what they were cheering for should terrify you. This isn't a peace conference. It's a gathering of radical activists, terrorist-linked organizations, and people glorifying violence under the banner of liberation. They invited actual terrorists, like Hussein Shahim, a convicted terrorist who built a cell in Jerusalem and was sentenced to 27 years for attempted murder. He was recently released in a hostage deal and was still invited to come speak. Here's what's actually being said at this conference.
We all know who they are, whether they are in Israel, in Washington, in Europe. They need to be taken out. They need to be neutralized. Now it's time to escalate.
They preach martyrdom.
Salute to our martyrs, those who are killed but never die.
They incite hatred towards America.
We live in an evil country. That's just what's happened.
They push rhetoric going against the West, socially, ideologically, and politically, to cheer for sentences like this.
Liberation, never peace. That's the white man's word, peace. Liberation is our word.
Does that sound like they want peace? They're romanticizing war, and they're turning this into a cult-like experience where people are continuing to be radicalized. And then we see applause erupting when somebody says something like this.
I can tell you, I'm more Palestinian than I am American.
This isn't activism. This is a whole event made to radicalize a group of people under the guise of liberation for the oppressed.
Every sector of society must become a front for confronting Zionism.
And it's funded by organizations directly tied to terrorism. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition was literally led by a Hamas operative. The AMP is under investigation for terror ties, and Code Pink has a long record of working with terrorists and oppressive regimes like Iran. We're living in a world where right and wrong are being blurred on purpose.
We need to retake the universities. We need to neutralize and silence these corporate media.
Where saying peace gets booed, but calling for jihad gets applause. Where blatant hate is being branded as activism and nobody calls it out.
Find that anger within your heart.
Where the people in this conference are using the right of free speech given to them by America to incite violence in America.
We wanted to globalize the Intifada.
This is not liberation. This is dangerous and it needs to be stopped.
I don't know if you like her or not, it doesn't really matter, but a few weeks ago, Laura Loomer came forward with a claim saying that Al-Qaeda had terror cells in the United States and planned to use them imminently. A few days ago, the NCTC chief concurred. Again, you don't have to believe me, and you don't have to believe Laura Loomer, but at some point, you're going to have to believe somebody. Oh, and before I forget, yeah, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better.
You're watching the...
Yeah, so I mean, I don't do this for for fear porn. I just do this to give you the information that's out there because you got all these different angles of all this different terror type stuff going on, along with the deep state's terrorist bullshit and all these things going on simultaneously at the same time. And everybody's watching football on Sunday. And I get it. I mean, I was a big Dallas Cowboy fan forever. I don't watch football anymore because they kneeled. But that's my thing. I don't have time for that. It's like it's a waste of energy for me. For you, maybe football's your thing, and I don't know, whatever. But I'm too concerned about my children and my children's children. I have small children, and I want my children to have a place to be like it was for at least the way it was for me, where I had freedom. You know what I mean? Where I was able to go to the store when I wanted to. And as long as I worked and made good money, I could go buy stuff for my family and have a decent home and a car to drive and all that stuff. And their plan to tear down the United States, it's government assistance. Everything ran by AI. And we've played the clips before, the AI, taking over, all of our, everything that isn't, something that has to have a, like my current job is probably pretty safe because they can't do what I do, you know what I mean? But a lot of people, they're going to be just gone. They're going to, sitting on the couch waiting for their government check because robots and AI is going to take over. So it's just all part of the plan. It's a continuous plan. All these things are happening. And I don't know if you've noticed how bad it's getting. It's worse every day. There's more stuff that's being shown to us and for us to believe it, because what they do is it's like what they did with the kids. I had a show last night on my Friday night show, and we talked about masculinity and what has happened to masculinity and how they've brainwashed our kids to be gay and all these different things. And no offense, if you're of age and you're gay, great, whatever. If that's your thing, that's your preference, I'm not knocking you, that's great. But what they're doing is they're starting with the kids in kindergarten and first grade, and they're working their way up. So their whole life they're being taught all this stuff that in my time it wasn't like that. If you tried to talk about having butt sex with my fucking kid or with me when I was a kid, my dad would have went down there or my mom would have went down there and ripped the principal's head off, because that's just the way it was. It wasn't about being homophobic. It was about, nurturing the kids so that the kids could grow up with their own ideas of life. And so they can make their own decisions when they get old enough to make decisions, not force fed all this stuff. Anyway, so you got to check out that show 191 last night we did. We had like a little round table. And I think it was pretty good. So check it out when you get a chance and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into this. Let's see. I think about Do we want to get into the Charlie Kirk stuff and get that off the table first? Because I just kind of I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this Nick want this one because whether you like him or not, it makes a lot of sense in a lot of things that he's talking about. And he's talking about getting rid of everybody that's not American citizens and send them back to where they came from on buses and 747s and stuff, and just starting fresh and new. Because the truth is, all this stuff, and as much as Reagan was a decent president, all this stuff, he's the one that started this whole thing where allowing all these illegals into our country. And I know that they're not illegal because they came the right way. They got their citizenship through the proper channels to get citizenship. But right now we have a lot of people here that are worse than undocumented. You don't know anything about them, and that's not how we've always done citizenship. Immigration. We didn't do it that way like it's being done since Biden took office. Actually, it started way before that, but I mean, we're focused on 2020, 2021, 22, so forth. But it's been going on for a long time. Illegals have came into our country for centuries, but it got bad in 2020, right? So anyway, let's just listen to what Nick has to say because I mean, whether you like the way he comes about it or not, I mean, I don't know, makes a lot of sense on one level. I mean, if you think about it, let's listen to what he has to say.
Here's my program for America. One's in the chat if you agree. We're going to take all these Shapiros, the Weinsteins, the Epsteins, and we're going to take the Zorans, the Hassans, and the Ilhans. We're going to get them all together. We're going to put them on a ship, and we're going to send them back to the fucking Middle East. Send them back to the desert. You can have them. Okay? Let's build the fleet. Let's build the Ark. Let's build a rocket ship or a spaceship. Let's get all the towel heads on one side. We'll get all the tiny hats on the other. We're going to put them on a big luxury cruise ship or a giant Boeing 737 MAX, and we can send them all right back to the Middle East. And we'll be all day long. They'll be going to Iraq. They'll be going to Israel. They'll be going to Turkey. They can all go back. Let's just bring them all back. Thank you. It was a good time. We had a great time together, but I think it's time for you to leave. We should have, who should be running New York? The Irish, the Italians, the English, the Germans, the Dutch. That's who should be running New York. Not Jews, not Muslims, not Chinese people, not Hispanics. It should be whites. I want New York to be white. I want LA to be white. Miami can be Hispanic. We'll give you Miami. Miami can be Hispanic. It's like a Caribbean nation at that point, And the blacks can have Atlanta, okay? The blacks can have Atlanta. The Hispanics can have Miami. But we want LA. We want New York. We want Chicago. The communists can have Portland. Just build a fucking fence around it. The communists can have Portland. It's lost. We want Seattle back also. Because it's like we just, on the right you have Shapiro. On the left you have Zoran. It's like, where's Washington? Like, I don't want Steens, Bergs, and Witzes. I don't want Ali's, Muhammad's, and Hassan's. I want John's, George's, James. This is what I want. This is who built America. Where are the French? Where are the English? Where are the Germans? Where are the Italians? So, if you got funny headgear, get the fuck out. Towel, tiny hat, dot, turban. Get them out. Dodgers baseball cap. That's a joke. We love Hispanics, but yeah, these other people, I can't do it. No more magic carpet rides, no more dreidels. This is fucking America. Whatever happened to America, huh? Like, that is what we need to push back on. This Charlie Kirk thing has sort of renewed my vigor. It's like, but no communists. Okay, we are against Israel, but no communists, please.
Whether you like him or not, I mean, that makes a lot of sense when you think about like the trouble that we're in and why we're in so much trouble with, you know, foreign country, I mean, the truth, that's the truth. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just, I'm going to get the whole racist thing and all that stuff, but I don't think that's what it is. I think that we need to get back to America first. And that's a little extreme. I mean, if you're here and you're legal and you went through the process of becoming a legal citizen, and you went through, because you don't just come over here, and you have to learn how to speak enough English to pass the test, whatever that test is called. I'm not sure what it's called, and alliance to the flag, right? You got to do that too. You got to memorize some things. You got to get it right. And, not that stuff that we were watching earlier where they're talking about they're going to come and take our country from us because it needs to be brainwashed. I agree with that. I don't agree with all of it, but I agree with that. All right. So we're going to get into this. I've put it off long enough. We've got a couple things here. I'm just going to show you again. I'm not taking a side yet. Not yet. It will. I will. When I get my earpiece is coming out. Let me set this up for you. Okay. So when I get to a place where I see that the information is in a direction, then I'll make a decision, because I'm not going to say what there's too many anomalies in this whole Charlie Kirk thing. There's people talking about he's still alive. There's people talking about why is there no blood? There are people talking about, he got shot from the right, or, he got shot from the rooftop behind his, above him, all these different things. And the truth is, I don't know. But let's listen to what Valhalla says about this whole thing, and it's a breakdown of the whole site, the whole thing that happened that day, and the things that don't add up. We're going to get into that right now. I think it's important that we just look at it for what it is, and at some point we're going to have to make a decision to call a spade, or call corruption, call false flag. We got to just call it out for whatever it is. But check this out.
Most of the viewers out there have not treated a human being that's been shot. Okay. Those of us that have know blood is everywhere, Alex. It is, I don't want to say the F word, everywhere.
Blood is fucking everywhere.
It's fucking everywhere. It'd have been over everybody's hands. It would have been over all of their shirts, pants, especially an artery shot like that. It's not possible that just no one has any blood on even their hands. So to me, what I want to know now is, why I was very suspicious about why we're not getting this high fidelity camera footage from right behind Charlie Kirk. And now I want to know, show me that footage. Because that footage is going to show me exactly what you're doing to treating Charlie Kirk. And I think, again, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. Alex, I think, I've been on your show enough times that you would agree I'm very level-headed with this stuff. Tell me why, Turning Point, no one treated Charlie Kirk. No one tried to stop the bleeding. You can see it right here. No blood on anyone's hands. Weird things being passed off. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. So I'm not willing to say this is nefarious, but I am willing to say nobody tried to save his life. I'm 100% confident in that. I can watch it right here in front of me. And then the question is why? Why is nobody, Alex, when you're talking about a carotid artery, a carotid artery injury, what I'm doing immediately when I roll up on somebody and they've got an arterial wound, I'm burying my hands inside of that wound before. Nobody's taking a shirt off. Nobody's getting gauze. Like, you don't have gauze? Get a shirt off. Give me some clothes. I need to pack that wound.
And by the way, even low-level, not very well-trained security knows to jam gauze or clothing into a wound.
Or at least your thumb. Get your thumbs down in there and actually stop the bleeding if you can, until you can get somebody to bring you help. But I can tell you, I watched this clip, none of that was done. So are these guys, they just had no trauma medicine experience? None of these guys that are his personal security have ever done trauma medicine? I teach trauma medicine courses, Alex. And this is just not.
But let's look at the body language of these guys. Their faces. I mean, I would show more concern flipping an omelet to make sure I didn't burn it. I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm watching body language. They look like it's funny.
I'm not ready to go down the rabbit hole of these guys were in on it, but I can tell you at an absolute minimum, I see massive negligence or incompetence at a minimum. Everybody who says he's got it in his jeans, oh, it's not in his jeans, it's up his back. Right. Okay. Well, we can see every angle in high fidelity. There's no rifle in his jeans.
You couldn't even put the barrel broke down in there.
Look sticking out. Look at his back. There's no giant 30-06 barrel, or not barrel, excuse me, buttstock coming up the back of his neck. As far as I can see, we played this a few times. He has no rifle at all. Even this tiny little backpack, I'm not sure could even fit a broken down.
You couldn't even put a compact M4 in that backpack.
I don't think so. So anybody who wants to tell me it's a broken down 30-06, I mean, I got one right here. I want to talk about this too. This is a 22 to 24 inch barrel. That's 2 feet. The barrel, even broken down, isn't fitting in that backpack. So where's his rifle, Alex? Unless that's not unless this is not footage of him, or it's not footage of him going to the roof, but the FBI tells us it is. There is no rifle in his pants. There's no rifle up his back. We can very clearly see there's no rifle here, right? Are we in agreement on that?
Yes.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that. So it has to be in his backpack. A 30-06 broken down is not fitting in that backpack.
But even the butt wouldn't fit in there.
No. So where is this rifle? How did he get the rifle to the roof? Alex, let's think about this. If you go back to the very first frame of this security camera has eyes on where he would have taken the shot from. Boom. That where you can see it in the far left corner.
Why are we getting the tape before this?
Why does the tape start when he's running? Why don't you show? You could show me him shooting.
Well, that goes to the larger
platform.
issue. There's ring cameras. There's cameras everywhere. Why do we have such limited stuff right in the middle of a major city?
The government ears out.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's just way too many things that aren't making sense. Yeah, and let's. So it's state law, Utah. I checked that you have to do a autopsy on any murder, especially assassination, high profile political assassination. It's a law, right? We all agree with that. We could look it up, but I'm not going to spend the time. But let's look at this. This is a 911 dispatch, or not 911, dispatch communication right here, okay? And let's listen what they say. And some of you probably already seen this. I've played it a few times, but we're going to play it again because this goes with the theory of what happened. Remember, one of the things that happened right away is there was no, when there's a shooting down the street and you're nosy, so you go look at what's going on. There's tape all around. There's cops everywhere. They got the whole thing secure. You can't get in. There's people taking hats off the table right after the shooting. And they're taking cameras down. They're doing all this stuff. They're moving stuff around. Was not a secure site at all. Check this out.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
Oh, okay. Can you just do a field clip documenting that?
I'm sorry, 10-9?
Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy? Yeah, 287, I'll be clear to the hospital.
I need an officer at Timpanogos Hospital to come stage in the emergency room bay.
Jesse just told me that he just got on the phone and Charlie's wife is coming to signature and they're bringing a car over here for her right now.
Charlie's wife is coming to land at signature, you said?
Sir, and Jesse's going to go to Duncan right now and pick up a car for her.
Okay, I'm a little confused because Corey just said they're landing at Duncan, so I don't know where they're landing, but we will just kind of play it by ear, I guess, best that we can.
I don't know how that works. One of the things that caught me off guard there in that little dispatch communication with the officer that was on site was he said, and I could be mistaken. I've listened to it a ton of times, but they're going to bring her a car. Now, I don't know if that's like some kind of a thing that the police department does and goes and gets like her a car, or if they're talking about an officer in a car is going to get. Now, it threw me off when I heard it. I was like, that makes no sense to me. Why are they going to get her a car? Unless they're talking about, and I'm not a cop, so I don't know. They could be saying, you would think that they would say something like a patrol car is going to pick her up or something, but they say going to get her a car. Did I hear that right? Did I hear that right? Let's see. Let me just play it one more time.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
Oh, okay. Can you just do a field clip documenting that?
I'm sorry, 10-9?
Can you just add us up to the case documenting that there was no autopsy? And
287 off the clear the hospital.
I need an officer at Timpanogos Hospital to come stage in the emergency room bay.
Jesse just told me that he just got on the phone and Charlie's wife is coming to signature and they're bringing a car over here for her right now.
Charlie's wife is coming to land at signature, you said?
Sir, and Jesse's going to go to Duncan right now and pick up a car for her.
Okay, I'm a little confused because Corey just said they're landing at Duncan, so I don't know where
A car for her.
His wife is coming to land at signature, you said?
Sir, and Jesse's going to go to Duncan right now and pick up a car for her.
Okay, I'm a little.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Anyway, okay, I know it's minor details, but these details matter when you're talking about no blood, you're talking about no autopsy, you're talking about an unsecure site, you're talking about, people carried Charlie to the car and there was no blood all over him, like an artery. An artery. You ever cut your head open before? The top of the head, all this area bleeds fucking bad, dude. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. Again, just doing a little investigation work. I'm not making any assumptions right now until I'm clear, but there's just a lot of different things that are going on and going around, and I'm not willing to, I don't want to get how do you say, over my skis on this one, but it's just something that I am taking a look at. Okay. All right. So anyway, so we covered that and that and that. We covered that. I guess we'll get into it. What am I missing? Oh, this is cute. This is a good one. I'm gonna play this, and then we're gonna get into the Alex Jones InfoWars being taken down. Let's see. Looking for something. Give me a second here. I'm looking for a. Let's play this first. I want to. Okay, we're gonna play this girl real quick. Then I got We're about three out. Okay, so we're gonna hit about 3 of these, and then we're gonna be done for the night. But let's. This is a. Let me set this up for you. This is a chick that she used to be a Democrat, and she was brainwashed into being a Democrat, and she was like, then she one day woke up and listened to what she said, and you could tell that she was definitely a Democrat. She got the fucking ring nose and all that. So let's check this out. Stand by.
When will y'all admit?
And she's
I spilled my coffee. When will y'all admit that killing somebody over the words coming out of their mouth, their religious or political views, is a form of fascism? Y'all are bitching about fascism constantly, and you cannot give us a single fucking actual example of how the right is fascist. And y'all are fucking killing people and celebrating it and calling us fascists. You're fucking retarded. That was mean. I'm autistic. I can say retarded, but that was mean. Y'all aren't retarded. You're just incredibly misguided, and I apologize for being mean. I'm loud, and I was loud for the left. I was a loud Democrat. Back in 2020, I got the COVID-19 vaccination, and I said that you are evil if you don't get it. And now I have a clinical medical fucking heart condition that is an actual hindrance on my life that I did not have until after I got that fucking vaccination, which technically has nothing to do with what I'm saying, but forcing people. I was forced to get the vaccine. I was going to be fired from my job. I was trying to schedule appointments that I was not allowed to schedule until I got the fucking vaccination. And forcing people to get stuff injected into their body against their consent. Oh, it's my body, my choice, until it's fucking your choice. It makes no fucking sense to me, but I fucking digress. I was supposed to stop swearing, so actually I need to relax. But like, it's fascism. It's a form of fascism. Like, y'all are forcing people to conform. You are trying to force people to believe a certain way. You are trying to force people to say certain things, and you're gonna fucking you're gonna freaking kill them if they don't conform. You're going to ostracize them, cut them out from your lives, convince everybody else to cut them out from their lives. You are a cult. No Republican has simply cut off people that they love from their lives because of their political views. Only Democrats do that. And as a former Democrat, I did that. Stop lying. I will be so much louder now than I was back in 2020. You don't know how loud I can get. I work at Spirit Halloween, but part-time job. I work with 4 and 5-year-olds, and they're freaking loud. They're loud. If I can get my voice above theirs, I can get my voice above yours real fast.
I got a kick out of that. The main thing is because she's autistic and she can't control herself. But I probably just got a strike for the because you can't talk about the vaccines on YouTube. But we'll see how that goes. It's all for entertainment purposes, YouTube. That's all it is, right? Is that how you do that? I know that's what they do on TikTok. I don't know. Anyway, I got a kick out of that because I got to lighten it up a little bit. But she's right. That's exactly right. And so, people all over are coming, they're coming to Jesus, man. They're getting it. You know what I mean? Anyway, all right. So where we at? We're going to do this right here. Stand by. We're going to bring this one in right here.
Albert Pike joined the Fraternal Independent Order of Oddfellows in 1840 By 1859, he was elected Sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite's Southern Jurisdiction and remained Sovereign Grand Commander for the rest of his life. He was definitely aware of Zionism, and if this Illuminati plan is true, then his use of the word Nazi is plausible. Either way, the letter is worth a read, and the closer we get to the end game, the more accurate this letter appears to be.
Albert Pike served as a brigadier general in the Confederate Army. Following the war, Pike was jailed for treason. He was quickly pardoned by a fellow Freemason, President Andrew Johnson. Among eventually becoming a 33-degree Mason and a top leader of the Ku Klux Klan, Pike was also believed to be a Luciferian. He claimed he was able to summon Lucifer at will as the Grand Master of the Order of the Palladium. Palladism, or traditional Satanism, an ancient Luciferian cult, was then introduced to the inner circle of the Masonic lodges. This influence has flourished into modern-day Freemasonry in the super rites of the upper degrees. Industry, entertainment, the CIA, Congress, and our military leaders are inundated with Freemasonic Palladism, or a Luciferian New World Order. What follows are the chilling predictions, or better yet, instructions of Albert Pike's 3 world wars, funded in great part by the House of Rothschild. From a letter that he wrote to 33-degree Italian Illuminati head and mafia founder Giuseppe Mazzini, dated August 15, 1871. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agentures of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments, in order to weaken the religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery and of the most bloody turmoil. Then, everywhere, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. A bizarre letter indeed. And a red flag may have gone off when you heard the term Nazism, but the term Nazism was known to those in the Illuminati at that time. Will we allow this madness to unfurl unabated, or will we put a halt to it before it's too late? In February of 2025, researchers from the CAFRE Research Project, including Dr. Nicole Sicolo, Professor Filippo Biondi, Dr. Armando Mi, and Professor Corrado Malanga, announced the detection of extensive subterranean anomalies beneath the Pyramid of CAFRE, utilizing SAR technology, or synthetic aperture radar, in collaboration with Capella Space, the team identified chambers, corridors, and vertical shafts extending at least 1 kilometer deep, or 3,280 feet deep, with dimensions mirroring the pyramid scale.
Can advanced technology be lost and rediscovered centuries later? Is it possible that an ancient culture had knowledge of and used electrical power? When such electrons are given the chance to bypass sections of rock via metal wire, quite large currents can flow. Limestone, dolomite, granite, supposedly constructed for a tomb, are, in fact, analogous to the exact materials we use to make electrical wires. They also share a relationship with pressure, which increases their electroconductivity. In 1993, a mysterious and inaccessible room was discovered after remaining hidden for thousands of years. Appearing to have deliberately been concealed by the structure's engineers, the room came to be called the Queen's Chamber and was finally explored in 2011 with a small remote camera to reveal a long-lost mummy? Hardly. It contained carefully crafted copper wire. And more importantly, there were instructions painted as symbols onto the floor, which appeared to show a clear wiring diagram.
Is what we are witnessing the unveiling of a massive ancient power source? Or is there more to this potentially human history-altering discovery? Edgar Cayce, a Kentucky-born psychic who gave 14,000 trance readings in the early 20th century, spoke extensively about a hidden hall of records tied to ancient civilizations, particularly Atlantis and Egypt. Casey's take, straight from his readings, was that this Hall of Records is a literal time capsule buried near the Great Sphinx at Giza, Egypt. He pinpointed it between the Sphinx and the river, saying it holds the history of Atlantis, stashed by survivors around 10,500 BC. He described 3 such halls worldwide, one under Giza, another in the Bahamas near Bimini, and a third in the Yucatan. The Egyptian one, he said, is linked to the Sphinx's right paw, with chambers leading to a pyramid-shaped vault packed with tablets and artifacts. Cayce also tied its discovery to a global wake-up call, saying it'd be unearthed when humanity's ready for a shift during changes in the Earth. Since the early 2000s, the speed at which the poles have shifted increased to around 34 miles per year, with a total displacement over the past 40 years of roughly 620 to 683 miles from its position in the mid-80s. Cayce's predictions have been tied to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, translated by Maurice Doreal. Its origins are debated, with some viewing it as a modern esoteric creation. It claims to channel Thoth, an Atlantean priest-king who shaped early Egyptian civilization. The tablets describe the halls as a hidden complex beneath the earth, serving as a repository of Atlantean knowledge and a portal for spiritual evolution. The recent Giza findings, vast, unexplained subterranean structures, align with these narratives, particularly Thoth's claim of a building beneath the pyramids. Yet the leap from radar anomalies to a 36,000-year-old Atlantean complex requires further investigation that the Egyptian government is unwilling to undertake.
The incredible thing about what they're doing is this is space-based. They're using space-based platforms to do this. And I think that's one of the reasons why they may be able to circumvent some of the restrictions placed by the Egyptian government, because, what are you going to do about satellites passing over your region, taking scans? At this point, I think that's just fair game until they create rules against it, which they're probably hurriedly trying to do in the light of these revelations.
John Bound, reporting for InfoWars.
This is a little piece of art, a really nice memento, and when you order for $100 an InfoWars War Bond, it's mailed to you with a one-time promo code you use. So when I show these on air, whoever puts one of these in first gets $110. But when it comes in the mail, you can use it once for $110 in the store. And then it's a nice memento to know that you supported the operation at such a key, critical time. Alex Jones War Bond 100 and...
All right, so here we are. I had to I that report. I had to go jump and use the head. So I played that report before we get to this Alex Jones or InfoWars thing. The satanic cultism is over my head, but it's definitely interesting and one of those things that it just the with the Masonic Lodge temple and all that stuff, it just continues to um, you know the they control everything in everywhere. They have their hands in everything um, all over the world. And definitely in the United States and Israel and all that stuff, it's all connected to Masonic cultism. And it's slightly over my small brain. But anyway, all right. So we've been waiting for this, and so we're gonna just get to it here. How do I set this up though? Let me see how I want to set this up. So So Alex Jones's InfoWars has been under fire for a long time. The Sandy Hook thing that he barely talked about over a period of time 10, 12 years ago, and the CIA and the deep state used something he said to find him guilty without a trial. They said he was guilty, and then he went to civil court, and they said how guilty he was, and then what they ended up doing was suing him for $2.2 billion, $2.1 billion, or something like that. And then he went into bankruptcy court, and then he's still in bankruptcy court, and in appeal, and the deep state have excuse me, have tried to come in and take InfoWars for several years. I have a few reports on. I have a few reports that I've done. I did a tribute. I reposted it yesterday. A tribute to InfoWars, where it's a bunch of the top, reports that were put out, in, last year, and I, did like a tribute to them when they kicked them out of the building, shut their internet off, and kicked them out of the building last year. And then the judge was like, "No, you can't do that. That's against the law." They had a fake trial, fake jury, fake fake cell of InfoWars and all stuff. And so the judge let him back in. Well, somehow or another, not sure exactly how it happened. They they went they got to the judge, or the judge was like, "Hey, we've been doing this for years. I'm gonna wash my hands to it." It goes back to state court, and the state can do whatever they want. And the state controller said that they're coming on Tuesday to take InfoWars. Now, this is the thing about InfoWars. It's just like that app that we talked about in the beginning of the show. They built an app, a phone app for iOS, Apple. They put it up at noon on Wednesday, and by Friday at noon, 48 hours, it was the number one news app on Apple. Number one. So that tells you that the information that you get from Alex Jones or from InfoWars is number one. Obviously, when you look at mainstream media or any of that stuff, that that's all bullshit propaganda. But when you're talking about news, X has been number one forever, and it passed even X, and X has it's constant news feeds, right? It's constant people with information about the news, about current events and everything. Anyway, and so I say that to say this, definitely go to the ajnapp.com and get the app. They also have the store there, but they have a live feed so you can get the shows. They're going to be going 24 hours, or I think 20 hours a day soon. They've been waiting for this whole thing to fold out, to end, this whole bankruptcy thing to end, because he's going to work for somebody as the news director and continue to keep what they're going to call Alex Jones Network going under a new owner. That's the plan. And so, but this is the thing. When they are able to take InfoWars with a fake trial, a fake story, sue him for something that he didn't do and take his business from him, charge him billions of dollars, when are you next? And so what they do is they shut him up. They think they're going to shut him up. All they're going to do is get a notch in the belt for taking InfoWars, but he's still going to be on the air. He'll get bigger than ever, just like Tucker and all the other people that got fired from their jobs, and they continued, and they just quadrupled. But this is the bigger thing. The bigger thing is this. When you take Alex Jones, Alex Jones is not safe. Listen, if they take InfoWars, they're going to kill him next. It's just like Trump. It's just like everybody else in the cabinet that's doing positive things for the United States. They want you to shut up. They want you to stop talking. They don't want you to have an opportunity to tell anybody the truth because they want to live from their propaganda. And you know this. I mean, if you've been on the stream for this long, you know that what I'm talking about is the truth. Like the news feeds and all that stuff, all they are is propaganda, constantly telling you lies to get you to think that that Joe Biden was the most popular president of all time, or that Kamala Harris was black, right? It's all bullshit. So anyway, this report here that I'm going to play is, if just listen to what this man says. It's not Alex Jones, but he's talking about Alex Jones's when he notified his viewers of that they're coming in, the deep state's coming in to take InfoWars, and listen to what he says and how he says it about what's going to happen next. Okay? It's a very important thing that we're going to cover right now. I think it's probably the biggest, most important news ever right now.
Create a thing that's not him, a straw man, and use him as a fundraiser. I was blessed in their delusion. I thought it worked, but it backfired. Their official story, their lies, everything they've done has only made us bigger. And that's why they're so scared right now. And that's why now I'm in maximum physical danger from the deep state.
Oh, yeah. They're going to try and kill you. There's no doubt about it. They are going to try to kill Alex Jones. And here's the thing. He knows it. That's what I was trying to get to. It was good. There's a moment where the look is on his face. Matter of fact, let's turn the volume down while I keep talking, and we're going to play it. And I'm going to pause the moment. You see, he knows. This is the first realization. He knows what it means. He knows it means, hey, there's nothing that the White House can do to protect me. And so now I'm a lamb for slaughter. I saw it, the look on his face. And I'm going to tell you the worst part about it is if there's assassination of him, it'll be the same type of bull crap that was covered up with Charlie Kirk. And America can't have the blood of its heroes continuously being sacrificed. And I know the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots. But you can't have too many, Donald. You had one big one. You have another big one. You're not going to be able to hold back the tide of what comes. You're not going to be able to hold it back. Jesus is the only one that held back this first one. I don't care what nobody say. That was the Lord that held that back. If it happens again and again and again and again, oh, buddy. And if they're killing your supporters, then you know they're about to kill you. And guys, I'm just going to tell you. When Alex says he's in time of maximum physical danger, no. Donald's in a time of maximum physical danger. J.D. Vance, Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, all of them. This is the moment when you shut off the largest Voice is the moment. This is when we cross the Rubicon. Somebody be like, well, Alex Jones is a sellout. Bro, I don't really give a shit about how you feel. You an ignorant person. When you ignorant. You don't fight the deep state since 1996 and expose everything they've done. And on record, you're their biggest threat. And then they silence their biggest threat. And then you don't think they're going to kill him. They have to kill him to send a message to everybody else. The same way they had to kill Charlie to send a message to everybody else. So, yes, we need to be praying for Alex Jones.
Yep. So, yeah, you need to be praying for Alex Jones. And, you need to pray for this country. We need to pray for our people in office, that are doing good work, like Gabbard and Trump and, the few that are over there that are doing good work. We need to pray for them because I'm going to tell you right now, we're at a point right now that the false flags are going to come and the, think that Butler assassination was something. Wait until it's a real trained professional that does it. Do you know what will happen to this country if Trump gets taken out or Alex Jones or any of those people? We keep having assassinations. You know what's going to happen? I didn't know how powerful Charlie Kirk was until he was gone. But now you know. It's still the top news feed on all the everywhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're going to come in on Tuesday. They're going to take InfoWars. I don't know how it could get blocked at this point when the federal judge says, okay, I'm washing my hands to it. He pretty much greenlit to take InfoWars. And, Alex is not safe because, once they take the InfoWars platform and he's still there, they're going to kill him or they're going to try. That's it. And then what do you think is going to happen to this country? What do you think is going to be the next turn of events that happens here when that happens? Just think about that for a minute. It's not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. So let's pray for our country, man. Let's pray for our people. Let's pray for the patriots that are fighting for this war that we're in. We're in a full-scale war right now. Fifth generation war. So, all right. So, thank you all for being here tonight. God bless you all. Please take this information and share it everywhere. It's open source. You can do whatever you want with any of my content on Rumble, Getter, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you can use it. Do whatever you want with it. Just copy us on it. Let people know where it came from. That's all I ask. And we thank you very much for being here. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this information. And I thank you. And I'll see you on Friday. I'll probably be here this week, later on this week. I don't know which day yet, but probably Tuesday or Wednesday. But God bless everybody. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is the regular show on Friday. And we'll see you later. God bless everybody. Thanks for being here. Good night.